Welcome back to the Wacky News of the Week. This is the news for the week ending September the 21st, 2012. To start off this week, we have an update for you. If you've been following the Wacky News for a while, you'll remember a story about a Newport, Vermont man who drove his dad's tractor over 6 cruisers and a van at the county sheriff's department in Derby. Well, he got out of jail a month ago, but has now been charged with driving with a suspended license. His lawyer says the latest charge seems gratuitous. In Loudon, New Hampshire, Shauna Arnold and her boyfriend were driving to the hospital after she went into labor. But on the way, she began to give birth. So they pulled into the New Hampshire Motor Speedway's parking lot, where she and her boyfriend delivered the baby in the car. Baby Katie and her parents were taken to the hospital by an EMT who was on duty at the track. Jerry Gappins, general manager of the Speedway, has given Katie 2 tickets to NASCAR races for the rest of her life. Don't you just hate having to go through airport security? Well, at the Albuquerque airport, Anita Tellerico, now get this, the second in command of the New Mexico's Domestic Security Agency, was caught trying to take a loaded gun onto a flight. TSA agents spotted the gun in her purse as it passed through a scanner. She claims she forgot to leave the gun at home because she was going to a funeral and was distraught. She was cited for unlawfully carrying a deadly weapon, and her gun was turned over to the city police as evidence. Back in May in Tampa, Florida, a fisherman caught a 15-pound juvenile Kemp's Ridley sea turtle and decided that he would cook and eat it. So he took the turtle home and put it in a tank in his backyard. A neighbor saw the endangered species and called the authorities. The turtle, now named Lucky, was taken to the Florida Aquarium, where he was rehabilitated and on Wednesday was released back into the wild. The fisherman told investigators he didn't know the turtle was endangered. In Burlington Township, New Jersey, a beagle named Brandy got away from her owner while walking up the Burlington-Bristol Bridge. A bridge officer, Rob Bittner, saw Brandy on the bridge and turned on his emergency lights to slow traffic and followed her. He said she was doing fine until she got to the top of the span and her paws fell to a still grade. She became frightened and jumped 70 feet into the Delaware River. Her owner recovered her, took her to the vet, who said that she was bruised around the abdomen with no broken bones. And a clever way to invite someone to a dance at the Patriot High School in Knoxville, Virginia. A student arranged for a U.S. Customs pilot to fly over the school in a government helicopter and drop a stuffed teddy bear onto the football field. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials are reviewing the incident, and the pilot has been reassigned to administrative duties for now. Neither school administrators nor government officials will say how the student and pilot were connected. And for the student who received the teddy bear invitation, it's unknown if they accepted. Thursday in Oklahoma City, Larry Austin and Dusty Projak got their marriage license. Then Austin pleaded guilty to a firearms charge and was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison by Oklahoma County Judge Jerry Bass. Then Judge Bass married the happy couple, who kissed before federal authorities took Austin away. Austin's attorney, Scott Anderson, said Austin had helped to raise Trojak's 2 sons and didn't want to lose contact with them while he was away in prison. Here's a puzzling story for you. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 42-year-old Joe Woos is shooting for a Guinness World Record for the largest hand-drawn maze that measures 35 feet long and 4 feet wide. It's filled with thousands of U-turns, intersections, and those dreaded dead ends. But the only way he can get into the record books is to have someone solve it, which no one has volunteered to do, not even his 10-year-old son Wally, who says he thinks it's too hard and prefers electronic devices. When asked how much he would charge to solve it, $20, Wally said. An hour. Now, that's a kid after my own heart. Usually, when professional tennis players hit their 30s, they retire. But not so for Armenian-born Artem Elmayan, who, at the age of 95, is the world's oldest ranked professional tennis player. Of a group of 39 men, he is the oldest in the ITF's over 85 ranking. O'Mayan complains, "It's 85 plus because there isn't anyone who's 90, much less 95, so I have to play against 85-year-olds. He says, "I do all right. Sometimes I take second place. Last year I won second place twice. It depends on the state of my opponent and my own. There are no enigmas here," and he claims that tennis helps to keep him from getting a belly. Do you like Ferraris? Then you would have loved to have been in Northamptonshire, England this week when 964 Ferrari owners set a new world record for the biggest ever supercar parade. 4 years ago, Japan set the record at 490 cars. Now, the total value of all the Ferraris that participated in the parade at Silverstone Racetrack was over $162 million. Now, this is what I would call a swell boss. 83-year-old Howard Cooper sold his import car dealership and is retiring later this month. But on Wednesday, to show his appreciation for the work his employees had put into the Ann Arbor, Michigan dealership, he gave each one $1,000 for each year they had worked for him. A parts van driver who had been there almost 28 years got a check for almost $28,000. And a 26-year mechanic got $26,000. But Sandy Reagan, who had been with the dealership for 46 years, didn't disclose how much her check was. They claim it's to help the country's low birth rate, but I think this group of Danish nurseries are more interested in making sure they have more business in a few years. What they're doing is offering parents 2 hours of free childcare so they can go home and make more babies. The first evening was on Thursday night and was designed as a party for the children, complete with music and a tea party. Many parents said they took advantage of the evening, but not for the reason intended. In Devon, England, there's a Springer Spaniel named Jess that helps her owner, Louise Morehouse, by feeding 4 lambs with a bottle. Morehouse says she's been doing it ever since she was a puppy. "I taught her to hold the milk bottle in her mouth, and she did the rest. It's very funny when she runs across the field gripping the bottle." The grateful sheep give Jess licks, nuzzles, and belly rubs in return. Only in New York. If you have to go potty at the Boom Boom Room Club on the 18th floor of the Standard Hotel, you'd better not be modest. Here's why. The restrooms have 10-foot floor-to-ceiling windows that allows guests to enjoy the view of the city below. But it also allows those below to view the guests as they use the restroom. David Langdon, 55, from Melbourne, Australia, said, "The view outside is exciting, but the view inside is frightening. I saw people waving at me. Sitting on the royal throne, you don't expect a public viewing." But some customers have no qualms about airing their privates in public. 26-year-old restaurant manager Flortina Valrestos said, "Who cares? So people know you have to pee." The view was wonderful both ways. In Newcastle, Delaware, police arrested a man that used a front-end loader with forklifts attached to steal his own 1999 Chevrolet Silverado pickup from an auto repair shop. 30-year-old Donald Smith II's truck was being held because he had defaulted on a payment he owed for repairs. The repair shop owner called police, and troopers spotted Smith operating the front-end loader and gave chase. The 35-minute pursuit ended when Smith drove into a retention pond. What is it with Walmart and $100 bills? In Texas, back on December 18, 2010, Julia Garcia had just sold her car, and in the deal, she received 2 $100 bills and 2 $50 bills. She went to Walmart at about 1:30 in the morning to do Christmas shopping for her kids. When she went to a checkout counter, and after the clerk rang up her merchandise, Garcia handed her a $100 bill and a $50 bill. The store clerk told her the $100 bill was a fake and tore it in half. After she had tore the bill in half, the clerk used one of those counterfeit detection pins to see if the bill was real or not. It showed a yellow mark indicating that it was real, which Garcia knew from having worked in retail before. The clerk kept insisting the bill was fake. The clerk called an assistant manager over, who also told Garcia that the bill was a fake and asked her where she got it. She told them about selling her car and showed them the other $100 bill. The manager looked at the bill and said it was also fake and tore it in half. Garcia was detained in the store next to the ice machine by the front door and was told the police had been called. Garcia claims that they added to her humiliation when the employees told curious customers that she was busted for trying to use fake money. It took police 2 hours to get there, and after running a series of tests on the money, one officer told Garcia what the Walmart employee and manager had done was a terrible mistake. The Walmart manager appeared upset when the officer told him the money was real. Then the manager went to Garcia and sarcastically stated that the police officer said the money was not counterfeit, though he disagreed. He then handed Garcia the 2 torn $100 bills. She refused them, and the officer instructed the Walmart manager to replace the bills he had wrongfully taken and destroyed. Garcia was detained for more than 4 hours. She filed suit against Walmart and is waiting a jury trial. And then, just this week in Michigan, a Walmart customer used a state benefits card to get $100 cash back, but the $100 bill was counterfeit. The woman didn't find out it was fake until she went to a store next door to purchase some items and was told it was counterfeit. The woman went back into Walmart, but an assistant manager told her he could not help her because she had already left the store. Now, to be fair to Walmart in this case, I understand that they could not know if, after leaving the store, the woman got the bill from them or not. In Boca Raton, Florida, 86-year-old Edna Zent and her husband were scheduled to take a flight to New York on Thursday. But Wednesday, she told her husband she wanted to cancel the flight because she wasn't feeling well. Her recently operated on knee was bothering her. He didn't want to cancel the flight, but called anyway and told the airline clerk that his wife was ill and they needed to cancel. After the call, Edna got upset because he told the airline clerk that she was ill. They argued in the bedroom, where Edna threw things at her husband and swung her arms at him, striking his body. He tried to defend himself by pushing Edna away, but fell into a rocking chair, knocking it over. He then went into the computer room, where within a few minutes Edna stormed in and continued to argue. She knocked over the computer chair and pulled the landline phone from the wall, then swung the telephone cord, hitting her husband. He retreated to the den to watch TV and, in his words, to get away from Edna. But to no avail, she followed the man, took his U.S. Navy ball cap off his head, and struck him in the arm with the stiff rim of the hat, breaking skin. Again, in an effort to get away from Edna, he decided to take out the trash. As he walked out the house, Edna threw a gray pair of sneakers at him. When officers arrived, they found the knocked-over rocker in the bedroom, the knocked-over chair in the computer room, the thrown gray sneakers, and the cut on the husband's arm. I guess Edna's husband finally got some peace and quiet after they arrested her and jailed her on charges of assaulting an elderly person. Her 89-year-old husband. Thanks for dropping by for this week's Wacky News. Be sure to catch us next week for more crazy happenings in the news. And be sure to visit www.thejestermagazine.com. You'll be glad you did.